Hi there, everyone, and welcome to part 2B of the musical alphabet. This is for the string bass players out there, so this will definitely help you. Now, what you'll see over here is a fretboard diagram um, of your bass guitar. Now, if you take your bass guitar and you lay it down on your lap, if you had to hold it as you usually do and then just flip it over and put it on your lap, your bass guitar should be upside down according to you, with the thickest string being closer to you and the thinnest string being the furthest away from you. So that's how the bass should look when you are working through this. Now you'll see that in this table there are numbers underneath. So each column over here has a specific number. All right. Now these stand for your fret positions. So for example, number 1 over here will stand for this fret over here. This will be classified as the first fret area over here, then the second fret area, which is here, third fret area, which is here, fourth fret, and so on until you get to the 12th fret. Now you'll see that there's a 0 over here, and this 0 stands for the nut, the piece of plastic that holds the strings up here where your headstock should be. Right, so and each of these blocks stand for bass, or the rows over here stands for the strings. Now on your 4-string bass guitar you should have 4 strings, and they each have a name. Now those names are basically it basically takes after what pitch that string is vibrating at. So for example, you'll see that I've put an E over there. Now, if you take your right hand and you pick that thicker string, it should be vibrating at an E pitch, which means that would be the name of the string. So without touching the fretboard and you pluck that, it should be vibrating. You should hear the E note. With the second string, it's the same. Where if you pluck that or pick that, it should be vibrating at an A pitch, and then the D pitch and G. So when you're looking at string names, the thickest string should be the E string, then the second thickest will be the A string, the D string, and then the G string. Another thing that we need to point out is that at the 12th fret, I've put the same letters over there. Now, what that means is that eventually when you get to the 12th fret, you're going to have to repeat the alphabet again. As I said in part 1, the musical alphabet doesn't have an H note and an I note and all of that. It goes from A all the way to G, and then it starts again with all the in-betweeners. Now, in this particular lesson, we're going to identify what would happen if I put my finger on the first fret on, let's use the A string first. And when I put my finger on the first fret on the A string, it changes the pitch to 1 above. Okay. Now remember, we were looking at ascending in the musical alphabet, which is you have your natural notes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it starts again. And then you have the in-betweeners as well, such as the sharps and the flats. So if we are going to ascend, what we're going to do over here, we're going to use sharps as well. Now, if I fret the first one over here, this note will become an A sharp. Okay, remember that it's usually, if we're ascending, that would be called whatever the note is to the left, with a sharp symbol next to it. So A sharp. Then the next note will be B. And then what do you think the next one is going to be next to that? So it's A sharp, B, and the next one would be, okay, if you said B sharp, you would be incorrect. It would be C, because remember, we spoke about the musical alphabet, and there's a golden rule. Now, the golden rule, remember, is between B and C and E and F, there are no sharps or flats. So that means that when we go A sharp, B, the next note will be C. And then the next note after that will be C sharp. And then after that would be, that's correct, that'll be D. And then we move on to the next one, which will be D sharp, E, E sharp. It wouldn't be E sharp, it would be F. Okay, because remember, between B and C and E and F, there are no sharps or flats. All right, so it'll be D, D sharp, E, F, and we're going to go a little bit faster, F sharp, G, G sharp, and then as we said, it will go to A. Now, if I didn't do it correctly, it would not line up with A over there, as in it wouldn't flow into the next section of the alphabet. So that's a good way to know if you are doing it correctly or not. So we've done the first one. I'm going to go through it again. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and A. Now what you're going to do is you are going to redraw this table for yourself, and you're going to actually redraw it twice. And the reason why is you're going to practice ascending using sharps and then descending using flats. Now the question you would probably ask is, what happens now if I start on D? All you have to do is carry on from D as the first point of reference. So that would mean that the next note that we have is D sharp, then it will be E, then it will be F, and then so on. So what you're going to do is you're going to practice doing this, ascending using sharps, and then remember the second table will be descending. So that means that if I look at it this way, if I start A over there, the next one's going to be A flat, G, G flat, and then carry on this way. And then I want you to do it for the rest of the strings. This is a good way to practice, basically practice learning your fretboard and knowing where all the notes are. All right, so this will be a good start to getting to know your fretboard. So practice this, and once you redraw and practice this, practice it more. Okay, the more you practice, the easier it will become for yourself. So I'm going to leave it over there, and this is basically your homework for this part. So I'll see you in the next lesson. So enjoy the rest of your day.